This classic podcast, though, is sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. The best way to think about therapy, through a bunch of analogies. We get our cars tuned up to prevent bigger issues from developing. We get annual checkups. We go to the gym to maintain physical wellness, prevent injury. And we do chores regularly, some more than others, to avoid a giant mess in our house. No one wants that clutter. Well, it turns out going to therapy, it's like all of these. It's routine maintenance for your mental and emotional wellness to prevent bigger issues down the road. Going to therapy doesn't mean something's wrong with you. It means you're investing in yourself to keep your mind healthy. BetterHelp is personalized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can start communicating with your therapist in under 48 hours. Why invest in everything else but not your mind? This pod is sponsored by BetterHelp, and No Dunks listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/theathletic. That's BETTERHELP.com/theathletic.
Here's a question I'm sure you get asked all the time, because I personally get asked it all the time, and I would say that we're in similar creative fields, although obviously compared to you, I am nothing, but compared to others, I am something. Right now, when you look at my question for you, I say, because you have to take into context everything in the zeitgeist. So when that, for example, meaning look at books, look at articles, look at, for example, films, movies, Marvel, language, Duolingo, music, Spotify, EV, electric vehicle. Are you familiar with, so cars, I dabble in cars if you're familiar.
Good morning, sweet world, and welcome to the No Dunks podcast on the Athletic Network. It's Wednesday, December 1st. My goodness, December 1st. Sounds crazy to say out loud. I'm J.D. Skeets, and alongside me, as always, we got Tass Mellis.
What's up, everybody?
Got the top shot hot boy, Trey Kirby.
Hey-yo.
Hey-yo.
Yo. We got the international man of mystery taking it to the max, Lee Ellis.
Friends.
And last, certainly not least, making the magic happen, super producer JD.
Hello.
There he is. Here we are. Shout out to the stream team for joining us live right now on YouTube. Apologies for being a little later than normal here this morning. Some technical difficulties. But take a second, subscribe to No Dunks on YouTube, like the vid, comment, and share the show. Let's get to 50K, guys, when it comes to subs. New No Breaks coming up later today, live at 3 p.m. Eastern. So if you are a fan of the vroom vrooms, of the fast cars, shout out to Tracy Chapman. It's our F1 podcast with Trey and Graydon Gordian. You guys got a lot of races to talk about because it's been a while since you've done an episode, and then you're looking ahead to the end of this actually amazing F1 season.
That's exactly right. We got 3 races to recap, 2 to preview, and like you mentioned, Skeets, we're going to be doing it all in the style of Tracy Chapman's fast car. So
Okay.
Should be pretty exciting. Make sure to tune in 3 p.m. Eastern.
Okay, well, we know our friend Julie Gardner will be tuning in for that. She loves that song by Tracy Chapman. I think it's her favorite song, though she's also on record saying she doesn't like music.
Wow.
Which is always blows my mind. Every 1 out of 10,000 people you meet, they just don't like music. And it's just strange to me. But
It's got to be way higher than that. 1 out of
Way
every 10.
higher?
I'm saying,
Yeah.
no, as in 1 in like 10 million people. I don't know anybody who doesn't love music.
I know, it is strange. She just like admits to like not being a music person. So it's like she doesn't throw on really like the radio at home, or obviously like using Apple or Spotify to play her favorite songs and artists. Yeah. Just, I guess, sits in silence, or I don't know.
Just
maybe
listen
talk
to the
radio.
fast car over and over.
Yeah, she does like that song. I know that.
Well, if she likes that song, she likes music. It's just that simple.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Okay. So we had some great games last night, especially the TNT doubleheader. We're going to break down both of those. Later on in this podcast, we'll hit the beach and answer a few of your questions. But let's start with the Phoenix Suns. Oh, boy. They win their 17th straight by beating the Warriors 104 to 96. I don't like numbers. Every 1 out of 10 million people you meet doesn't like numbers. So nice win here from Phoenix. Tass, let's get into the takeaways from Phoenix's win.
Well, I just had a flashback to last night when you said 149 there for a sec. I thought I was on drugs watching this basketball game because I thought I was on some psychedelics because they were being sped up. Those Golden State Warriors were being sped up by the Suns. They just were out of sorts with Mikal Bridges and DeAndre Ayton handling the pick and roll of Steph Curry and Draymond Green switching out. Mikal Bridges, what a freaking defender. And DeAndre Ayton, how he's come along. When have you seen Steph Curry blocked at the three-point line by a center? You know that Steph is getting space on the center, but that didn't happen. The Suns just kind of, gave Steph everything he could handle, obviously. When Steph Curry doesn't hit a fourth quarter shot, something's going on. Steph had the worst shooting night of his career when taking 20 shots or more, 4 of 21. And it just seemed like the Warriors were turning it over and over again, 22 turnovers. And, everyone is going to be talking about Steph Curry not having a good night. Mikal Bridges sort of playing like, Fred VanVleet was in the 2019 finals, just sticking to him. And he's doing a very good job of that. He's an all defensive player. But I think I want to mention Chris Paul in this first breath because he has been described as anti-clutch at times, but he's been phenomenal this year in the clutch. With Devin Booker going out of this game in the first half, he was the one who closed it out, and it was a tight game down the stretch. The Warriors trying to find offense, couldn't find it, being sped up, but Chris Paul slowed that thing down for the Suns, and he's 63% in clutch situations this year. So 2 of every 3 shots basically going down for that guy. And I felt like this was kind of like a game 1 of a series, game 1 of a Western Conference Finals, where the Warriors probably had to get the feel of the Suns and what they were doing and being pressured out there, and everybody except for Jordan Poole being sped up and taking shots that they didn't want to take, like Draymond Green, etc. So I think going into game 2 of this series, feels like we got a series here on Friday night when these two teams meet. We'll see a different Warriors team because I think the Suns just threw them off with all those arms out there, taking away Steph. And, without Jordan Poole having a big game, it would have been a blowout, really. But the Suns can't say enough about that defense. I mean, they just were so committed, and that's why they've won 17 straight.
Yeah, Leigh, if you were handing out like 3 stars to the Phoenix Suns or anyone from this game, if you wanted to, like we're doing the old hockey style, they get to come out there and put their put their jersey up and wave it around their head like a helicopter or something like that. I guess they don't have a stick that they can use. But who would get your like 3 stars from this Warriors Suns game last night?
That's a tough one because it would feel weird to give 3 stars to a guy who had 2 points. But I think that's just
I think you have to, though, in Mikal Bridges. Yeah.
I think he was just so impactful there last night because it did just make Steph Curry not look like the MVP for that one game. I mean, but it wasn't just him. Cam Johnson, as soon as he came out, Bridges went out. Cam Johnson's arm seemed just as long and just as effective out there. That was what was incredible for me. So going back to your question, though, I think I'm probably going DeAndre Ayton with the 2 votes there because I thought he was incredible. And you could just see as well, Draymond Green is an incredible defender. We know that. But when you've got 3, 4, 5 inches over a guy, that just makes it a lot more of an advantage to the big guy, especially when he's active, when he's athletic, like I thought DeAndre Ayton was last night. So Chris Paul somehow only gets 1 star out of this game, even though I thought he was obviously fantastic as well. But I think you could also sort of spread points of that 1 star around to other players on the team because they were just everyone seemed to contribute. Now, if you are the Phoenix Suns, a team that hasn't won the championship despite being the finals last season, this was an emphatic win. This was a statement victory, especially with Devin Booker there, not in the second half. If you're the Golden State Warriors, who have won 3 out of the last 7, I guess it is now, championships, they look at this and go, it's a loss in November. We didn't play well. We get plenty of time here and we get another chance at them on Friday night and we'll change things and mix things up and we'll certainly get Steph better looks because that's what happens when you are the team, the Suns. The team they did go in favorite, I think, last night, didn't they?
Yeah,
only
they
by 1.5, and they've won 16 in a row. So they sort of needed this win against the other team that was playing as well as them, and they got it. But overall, just a really incredible performance. And it's funny when you look back at the box score of a game like this. The Phoenix Suns got out-rebounded by 16 by the Golden State Warriors. That, to me, just doesn't make sense. Like, watching that, it was like, there's no way they got pounded on the boards like that. And DeAndre Ayton had 6 offensive rebounds himself. So when Phoenix comes away from this game, there are so many positives to take out of this, whereas the Golden State Warriors are just going to say, okay, they got us. We get a chance again on Friday, then on Christmas Day again, and then not until later in the season. But again, it's not a playoff victory. They really now, Golden State, know what they're up against defensively when they see this incredible Phoenix Suns team.
Yeah, I think the game mostly lived up to the hype, right, Trey? Like, we were very excited about this. We had circled this one on the calendar with the big winning streaks from both teams, and it was pretty damn good. Outside of the Warriors went cold late, and the Suns deserve a lot of the credit for their defense. And then Crowder hit those big threes. You know, Chris Paul hit his classic, like, let me get to the corner, hit my jumper. And then he set up another one there for Landry Shamet, who has been ice cold, but he hit the 3 and then it was game over. But yeah, who impressed you most? Was it, Bridges, his defense, or the big guy like Ayton, or obviously all of them?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would give the 3 stars vote to just the defense for the Suns, because the way Bridges would get around screens, the comfort that Ayton had switching out onto Steph Curry, like Tass mentioned, he blocked a Steph Curry 3. Then on the next play down, Steph attacks Ayton off the switch, but Bridges blocks his shot at the rim right at the end of the first half. That was incredible stuff. So give the entire defense and the commitment to the scheme, I think, the main credit here, because that was some impressive stuff from the Suns. Even Steph said afterwards, a lot of the reason I was missing is because the Suns were doing such a good job. I mean, the guy shot 2 air balls. When do you ever see that from Steph Curry? He was just completely hurried up. And I thought Ayton was incredible. I thought he was dominant inside. I thought he controlled the paint on both sides. He was punishing switches offensively. Like, sometimes he would end up with Steph on him, or maybe even Draymond, depending on the way the possession went down. And he was having comfort just getting to a hook shot, dinking and dumping in there. Like Leigh said, he had 6 offensive rebounds, and the Suns are usually a drop defensive team where they're just waiting for him to kind of wall off the paint, but he was switching out there offensively and just completely engaged on both sides of the court for the entirety of the game. And you obviously can't underrate what Bridges brought to the table last night. 2 points, but that's going to go on his all defense reel at the end of the season. People are talking, could this guy make a run at Defensive Player of the Year? Funny to hear after a game against Draymond Green, clearly the front runner going into this, but that was impressive. I mean, part of it is the arms. His arms are incredibly long. The hands are incredibly quick. He's able to rip guys outside on the perimeter, and he's also able to get steals in the post. Like, there were times when Ayton would do such a good job of moving his feet on Steph Curry that Curry's got to pick up the ball. He tries to dish it into Draymond, but Bridges' arms are long enough to get around the seal that Draymond's trying down there in the post. Just incredible stuff from the Suns. You know, it looked like a playoff game for them, no doubt about it. And it was fun to watch. Turned into a little bit of a blowout at the end, but that's all credit to the Suns taking care of business.
And again, I mean, they lose Devin Booker, Tass. He slipped it in there. Like, I don't want to gloss over that. This guy was like on a tear recently, 30 points per game in the last couple, looking like an all NBA type guy, definitely an all-star again. And he had 10 points and a couple boards in 15 minutes of play. And then he hurts the left hammy there. I think that was an injury that he had last season for a little bit too. So hopefully nothing serious, but for then the Suns to, like, in a close game, I mean, it was a 1-point game with 5 minutes to go. And we've talked about the Suns before in this winning streak. It's like, well, yeah, they got like 2 closers. They got Chris Paul and then they have Booker, but they're missing one of those guys last night. So I thought it was pretty amazing that you could lean on Chris Paul to set up a lot of these guys and he could do his thing, and he was awesome again. But to get this victory without Booker, I mean, like, if another team loses their best player and they get this victory over an awesome team, the team with the best record coming into the game, I think people are going crazy. But it's just like everybody's contributing so much and they seem so deep, this squad. It's like, it's not made to be that big of a deal that Booker goes down and doesn't return in the second half. That says something about this squad to me. Yeah,
they have 2 high-end ball handlers, and when you try and double, like the Suns did a little bit to Steph Curry, they were able to get the ball out of his hands sometimes, or switch DeAndre Ayton out onto him, which is, still can't believe that he danced with Steph Curry out there, blocked his shot, was able to hang out with Steph. They kind of pushed him to one side. They did a good job. The Warriors weren't able to have a secondary ball handler take over last night. The Warriors don't have that right now. Right. But the Suns do. And that's a special feat that they got going on right there. So yeah, you try and take Booker out of it. Chris Paul should be able to beat you. They have that special thing going on. That's the only person that messed up in the last few minutes was Monty Williams when he got a technical foul. The coach, 4 minutes left, walks onto the floor and gets teed because he thought it was a TV timeout. And so did everybody. I'm so glad. I'm glad that the Suns didn't lose for that reason. Monty, the headlines, just a picture of Monty Williams walking onto the floor. What would it be? Tee him up, or I don't know. I mean, that's too easy. Timeout for you, Monty. I don't know.
Maybe like Mon with a dash, and then it says just a T. Monty.
Not bad. Getting creative with it. I like that. I like coming out of this, Leigh, that with Ayton and Bridges having awesome games, they had basically the podium game where they're both talking to the press after because they were so dominant. They get to like recall winning only 19 games as rookies, and then now they've won a franchise record, tying a franchise record 17 straight. Like I almost want the Suns win streak to get to 19 because that's like too perfect. Like we won 19 total games when we joined this organization, and now here we are winning 19 straight. Now to do that, they got to beat the Pistons. Could be one of those weird trap games. You never know, because then they play, I believe I have it right, the Warriors again, like Tess said, on Friday night. There's only one game in between there. Yeah, it's Wednesday night. That makes sense. So do you like their chances of, first off, not overlooking Detroit, I guess, and getting that one, and then beating Golden State again, of course, this time in the Bay, probably with a better Steph Curry game, maybe some changes from Steph Curry, and maybe some other guys back in their roster as well, maybe like a Iguodala or something like that.
Yeah, sign me up for 18. I think there's no question they get that one. But you do expect a pretty fierce response, I think, here from the Warriors, especially Steph Curry, because we've seen him fire up a few times this season. The game against the Bulls, for example, where he really caught fire in that game. I mean, he is the sort of guy who does respond. You know, we saw him against the Brooklyn Nets have one of his most amazing games. Now, that wasn't in response to anything, but it was almost like Steph just decided he wanted to show who's MVP. He did that against the Clippers just over the weekend there as well. So you're going to, for the fact that the Warriors were so close when Steph had, the worst shooting night of his career, just shows, like that was still a pretty almost lucky win in that sense from the Phoenix Suns, because Jordan Poole was their offense really last night. And the other point, the Warriors had 22 turnovers, and so many of those were just awful. And again, credit the Phoenix Suns defense for that. But Draymond Green got sped up. He made some terrible passes. And you saw Steve Kerr at one point on the sideline. He covered his mouth because he was just furious. I think that was over Toscano Anderson, getting a shot clock violation. Yeah. But that was just the way it was for the Warriors last night. They could not get any sort of rhythm going to sort of get a lead and then try to maintain that, because that defense kept on speeding them up. So will they win 19 straight? I hope they do. I hope so too. It would be great to see them, sort of solidify this victory last night with one in Golden State in the response game, because then it'd be like, oh, now the Warriors. Imagine Christmas Day then. Warriors looking for revenge on that occasion. Yeah, so, true. Yeah, I think, give me 19. Why not? Let's have some fun with it.
I want them to get to 20, because then you remember a winning streak, I think. I think 20 is the threshold, because during the broadcast, Brian Anderson brought it up that they're matching their franchise high of 17 straight wins, which was in 2007, the 06-07 season, the first season of the Basketball Jones, first full season of the Basketball Jones way back then. And I didn't remember a 17 streak from the Phoenix Suns. It was a great team, obviously. Sean Marion, Amari, and Steve Nash. They had a 17-game win streak that year. They had a 15-game win streak earlier in the season. Are we supposed to remember those? I mean, what's the...
No, I'm with you. You got to get over 20.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
20 is a lot. 20. I mean, what's the all-time record? 33?
That's right.
Yeah. I mean,
the Heat got 27.
27, yeah.
The Bulls beat it, right? The snap.
Yeah, this is a fair point, though, by Sep B. A lossless month, still pretty effing crazy.
Yeah, I hope all of the Suns make the All-Star team. or player of the week, I guess. What player of the month? It wasn't it the Hawks got player of the month?
Yeah,
all of them. They're starting.
Amari Carroll got 1/5. They were spreading the star points around all of the players.
It's still one of the dumber things the NBA has done.
Weird when you think
really
about it.
Yeah. But yeah, that was an incredible month. They really haven't lost. And like people were pushing back on the win streak, Leigh, because they're like, well, they haven't played that many great teams. Had a bit of a soft schedule there. And, okay, well, you just took down the 18-2 Warriors in pretty convincing fashion as you got down the stretch, at least, without your best guy, arguably, in Devin Booker. Awesome win.
And just, we know that in the NBA, even after you win 8 or 9 in a row, there's always that one game in the calendar that just sort of pops up. That's why it is so impressive what Phoenix has done, considering they were 1-3 and considering what they're dealing with in the off-court stuff. That's kind of been brushed aside because, winning cures everything in that sense. We're all talking about how incredible they've been. And then again, to do it last night, as we say, I think defense great and all that, but Devin Booker was largely a non-factor, certainly in that second half.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I was thinking about this morning, oddly, while I was unloading the dishwasher. I'm like, what if the Phoenix Suns go on to win the championship? And we all know the Larry O'Brien trophy is handed to the owner first. What if Robert Sarver is still under investigation and this is like ongoing? Like, what happens in that case? It's a long way away, and it's maybe still unlikely, even if the Suns win there, or if the investigation is wrapped up and all that. But anyway, just crossed my mind because they look that good. They look legit. And you can tell the way they're playing here. They got like an FU attitude to them. Like, oh, everybody's saying like we lucked out last year, got by all these teams that had injuries to key guys. Are we really that good? Even though we had one of the better records in the season, Tass. There, you can tell that like pisses them off, especially with a guy like Chris Paul, who's always looking for that type of like motivation, I think. And it's applied to the rest of the team, it looks like.
Yeah, and I was impressed by Chris Paul and how he was never out of control. I know he never really gets out of control, but with all the pressure that was coming at him because everybody knew that Devin Booker wasn't on the floor, he was still able to orchestrate such a nice little last few minutes there, and it was perfect. And it helped that DeAndre Ayton was having a great game and living up to his billing, and the Suns obviously haven't signed him long term, but he just looks so great on both ends of the floor. He was instrumental. We mentioned those 6 offensive rebounds, was so comfortable with those post moves, scoring. And, we haven't seen full teams here. So hopefully we get a little bit more of that Friday with Devin Booker. It was really interesting to hear Steve Kerr after the game say the guys kind of rushed it from Jordan Poole to Otto Porter. There are openings there for those guys and for Klay Thompson. Like him mentioning Klay Thompson was kind of interesting because I guess he's coming back real soon. I mean, he does look pretty good in those highlight videos from the Santa Cruz Warriors. So if you're jumping these little, I guess I don't know what to call them. These little lines, these little snippets of people saying, well, if Jordan Poole won't go off like that again. Well, Devin Booker will be back. Well, Steph Curry won't go off like that. I mean, if Klay Thompson comes back, Jordan Poole goes to the bench and Juan Toscano-Anderson isn't in the rotation, doesn't turn the ball over 5 times. So you could play that what-if game forever. But I want to see a full-fledged roster versus roster here because these are obviously the best 2 teams in the league right now.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And everybody like pointing out like, well, it's a different game if Klay plays last night. I would argue in watching last night's game, the Warriors could have used an Iguodala or maybe even like a James Wiseman to try and contain Ayton doing work down there in the post a little bit more. It's like that's what they were really, really missing. Of course, you're going to want Klay in any lineup. I get that, but just for spacing reasons, and he can play defense too. But yeah, those 2 guys, especially like an Iguodala, is just like he's played in a million big games. He's not going to get flustered. Like you look at what Jay Crowder was given the Suns. Iguodala does that at this point of his career as well. He can hit the open 3. He obviously is like extremely intelligent defensively. So I'm with you, Tass. I hope we get full rosters here. Maybe on Christmas. That would be perfect. This is the 5:00 game, right? On the Christmas schedule. I think that's where they slotted this one. That's the Tass. I've heard you say that's the juicy spot, right? Isn't that your favorite one?
That's when the turkey is the juiciest, for sure. I forgot.
Yeah, we got a 5:00 start.
Yeah.
Wow, nice.
There you go. So that must mean the Lakers-Nets game is probably following that at the 8:00 spot. Okay, any other notes on Warriors-Suns, or you want to keep it moving here? We'll keep it moving. Oh, Trey, you got something.
I opened my mouth, didn't I? All I was going to say is at one point, Chris Paul hit a mid-range jumper that he started taking when he was facing the other way.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
That was wild.
Yeah. He was not looking at the hoop when he started his attempt, I don't think. He kind of did like a do-si-do in the lane, went almost a double spin move. And when he shot it, he was falling over. Yeah. And it was a pure swish. That was really cool. So glad I said it.
I'm glad you said it as well. And also, I'll add to that. I'm loving the Mikal Bridges love for defensive player of the year. Sure, have him in the conversation. He's going to make an all-defensive team. That's looking likely. While all that's going on, and it's great, Chris Paul is still an elite defensive player in this league. Like, he just goes about it differently than your long-limbed Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson, like you said, Leigh, where they get a lot of interceptions and a lot of deflections because like you're like, whoa, didn't realize their arms were that long. I thought I was making a simple pass there. They just engulfed it. But Chris Paul is the opposite. He's just like, he's such a pest. He just comes in like it's like a honey badger or something.
Yeah.
Like he's like just digs away at people, and he comes up with so many steals and deflections. And I'm always reminded, because I don't think about this when I think of Chris Paul, because you think like, I think you brought it up the other day, that stat where he's like the first player in history, 20,000 points, 10,000 assists, 5,000 rebounds. He's a 9-time all defensive player and a 6-time steals champion for a season. And he had another 5 last night. It's just like, at this point of his career, even it's pretty amazingly. So I just want to show him a little bit more love. I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
But no, he is. I think we have sort of almost just he's a great defender. You take it for granted, but he's a very smart defender. He's not the athletic guys like Johnson and Bridges with the long arms. He just gets in the lanes. He gets in the way. I think he actually holds the record for most consecutive games with a steal too. He set that when he was back in the Pelican. Was it the Hornets? It would have been back in those days. So yeah, he's always been a great defender, and good to see him get a victory over Steph Curry.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, Curry generally comes out on top of Chris Paul. Maybe it changes this year. I will ask you, Leigh, final question, and I promise we'll move on. Would you rather, you're bringing the ball up, Leigh, which one would make you shit your pants more? Is it the Bridges, like, oh my God, his arms stretch from sideline to sideline, and like, how am I ever going to get by this guy? Or is it the Chris Paul like type of guy where it's like, they're just so annoying and they're just, they're breathing down your neck and slapping at your arms, and like, which one would you hate to bring the ball up against more?
It's actually the Bridges one, because that brings back memories. I used to be the point guard of my team, playing as kids, and there was this guy for this one other team. He stole it off me. He just kept poking it away because his arms could just go around. And I would come down like this sometimes.
Oh, chicken wing him.
Yeah. And he would like go underneath and still poke it away. Like he was my nemesis. He was my nemesis because he was just like, I can steal it off this guy. And I was just like, I want to fight this guy, but I also want to learn to play defense like him as well.
Okay. I'm glad I asked. Okay. Our next game, it was the first game on TNT last night. Also really entertaining. Came down to the wire. The Nets edged the Knicks 112-110 on James Johnson's free throws. So I was not expecting to see James Johnson's name in the headline here, but Trey, have at it. What were your big takeaways?
James Johnson. I haven't heard that name in years. It was a fun one in fake New Jersey last night. The AP said it was the biggest crowd ever at the Clays. It was probably 50-50 Nets-Knicks. So it was close, lit. Yeah, it was loud the entire time. A tight first half, but the Nets opened things up in the third, went on a 14-0 run. Kevin Durant got hot. James Harden was hitting the glass. The guy had a tip dunk that he said he thinks is his only NBA tip dunk of his career. He was shaking his brownies. DeAndre Bembry was making plays. The Nets stretched things out to a 16-point lead, and I was thinking, this is over. This is just the big third quarter run that we see from so many elite teams to bury their opponents after a tight first half. But here comes the Knicks bench. Quickly, Rose and Noel in for Burks, Robinson, and Quentin Grimes, who was in the lineup for RJ Barrett out with an illness. The Knicks bench went on a 16-4 run to end the third. Knicks get it back to fourth, heading into the fourth. They're battling back and forth. Kevin Durant heats up again. 11 in the fourth for Durant. The Knicks could not keep him off the free throw line. He hit a couple freebies to put the Nets up 3 with about 30 seconds left. Knicks run a great play. Tom Thibodeau uses James Harden's man, Derrick Rose, to screen for Evan Fournier, assuming James Harden ain't popping out to help on this three-point attempt. He didn't. Evan Fournier, a wide open look for 3. Bing bong, tie game. He had the hoof hands out, looking good, but the Nets still had a chance to win. It's a tie game with 17 seconds left. KD's been torching the Knicks at this point, so they send a double with Rose. James Johnson, he's back, baby. Pops to the free throw line. KD hooks him up. Johnson attacks the hoop. Bad foul from Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah.
That was definitely a foul. I mean, he just lunged at him, as everybody was saying. Reggie was saying, if they said it post-game, just go straight up and down, man. You've got the size, you've got the athleticism, and the youth. That was a bad foul. James Johnson steps to the line for 2 beauties. Nets win. Game of the night, at least up until that point. The big story afterwards, though, free throws, baby. Nets went 22 of 25. The Knicks only went 11 of 12. Both Julius Randle and Tommy Tibbs called out the refs afterwards because Randle only shot 2 free throws, and I think both of them were on and ones, including one like on a jump shot, not even close to the hoop.
Yeah.
But this was really fun. I saw that a bunch of Knicks fans set up a GoFundMe to try and fight Scott Foster after this one. They said somebody's got to do it. NBA players can't, so somebody's got to. But that's it was awesome. Even post game, like Harden had probably his best game recently. He's been playing well, but he had a nice game. Afterwards, they asked him about it. He's like, I'm not going to lie. There were as many Knicks fans here as there were Nets fans, but our fans held it down too. So it felt like a rivalry game last night. Really, really fun to watch.
Yeah, hold on. This GoFundMe. Now, I thought you were setting it up to say the Knicks fans were starting the GoFundMe to raise the $15,000 that Julius Randle inevitably is going to get fined for, calling out the officials. But the GoFundMe was to fight Scott Foster. What are they? Yeah. What are they raising money for?
Here's the thing. Hey, everyone. I'm a lifelong basketball fanatic and longtime watcher of the NBA. I think it's time someone fights the corrupt NBA referee, Scott Foster. Tonight, I watched in person as Scott Foster single-handedly changed the outcome of an NBA game. NBA athletes can't fight Scott Foster because they risked A, suspension, and B, legal consequences. Sure. Nevertheless, someone has to fight Scott Foster. I think it's 25,000 is what they're trying to raise. 20,000
for what?
20,000 goes to the winner.
Oh,
to give to charity. The other 5,000 is so that the person running the GoFundMe can pay off the refs to win the boxing match against Scott Foster. Okay. Knicks fans are awesome.
Okay. I'm glad I asked. I was very confused. Yeah. Okay. Well, what do you think, Tass? You watched this one. Is Randle Tibbs, or they have a point here? Like they got the short end of the stick when it came to the whistle. I know Tibbs was like, I don't care how you're going to call the game. Either you're going to call a lot of fouls or you're going to let them play. Just stay consistent. He doesn't think they did that. What do you think?
I'm not listening to any member of the New York Knicks or the coaches. I don't believe any of them. Mitchell Robinson went to Twitter afterwards after he fouled James Johnson. It was clear he fouled him. He took to Twitter, retweeted a video of it and said, wow, got pushed in the back and hit ball first. The video that he retweeted was him hitting James Johnson's arm. I mean, he hits his arm and then he deleted the tweet afterwards. It's like on the court, you can think, all right, maybe I got ball or whatever. You think you're invincible, but then you take to Twitter, you shower, and then you see it. How can you still retweet it? I don't believe anybody. I understand, but Harden's not getting calls, so nah. No? I can understand being mad, but. They lost, and they're lucky that Kevin Durant had a cold first half. James Harden, he's still an enigma to me. That he woke up in this game. I do think it was his best game, and whether he got a tip dunk or not earlier in his career, that tip dunk, it was fantastic. That celebration right there. So good stuff. Good on him.
Leigh, Randle, only 2 free throws. He looks at the box score. KD 9. Harden 10 attempts. Hey, I'm right there with these guys. That's what he's thinking. He's like, where are my calls? I'm attacking. I'm going in there. And then he says, like, he talked to the officials, and they're like, well, you're too physical. You're too strong. That's what he says.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But what like in watching the game, honestly, does he have a case here that he should have been at the free throw line a couple more times?
Nice. Look, I think the one that really upset him was when just before he got the tech foul, because he went in, he kind of looked like there might have been a little bit of contact on the hand there. He misses the shot. He goes down the other end. Kevin Durant crosses him up beautifully for the second time of the night. Hits a jump shot. The Nets stay up or they go up. And then he's kind of angry at the refs, and he gets the tee for that at a crucial moment of the game. So I think that's kind of a combination there of the entire night. But listen, I've been on record all season saying I love the way the games are called right now. I don't think there was anything super egregious last night that was missed or that was wrongly called. There was the one where the Knicks challenged when Kevin Durant went in. He fouled. It was Rose, I believe it was. He fouled him. I mean, he fouled him. Like, that's the way it goes. Foul calls should never be even. Free throws should never be even. There's no way the refs should go like, well, they've had 20, they've only had 10. We need to even it up. That's just not the way it goes. So this was a great game. The Knicks had a chance to win. An incredible play. Fournier tied the game there with about 20 seconds to go. And the Knicks just lost this game. And I think that's more where the frustration comes from. I wasn't sort of scrolling back through going, oh, that's a foul. That's a big one they missed there. There's a ton of bang calls in every NBA game. I am much happier that we're allowing a lot more physicality this season. And the crucial ones, like we're talking about here, Mitchell Robinson, he fouled James Johnson. James Johnson, 68% free throw shooter. He knocked down a couple. Didn't do enough for me to get the practice your free throws, kids, though. I just thought, I'm not going to do that tonight. But I just think that a great game, an incredible atmosphere last night. It looked so much fun there.
Yeah.
And the Knicks just couldn't get it done at the end of the game. So maybe Randle, sure, maybe there's a couple that could have gone his way, maybe not. But overall, this, to me, wasn't terrible refereeing or biased refereeing or anything like that. I think that they're just pissed that they lost this game and they could have won it.
You will not be donating to the GoFundMe to go fight Scott Foster?
We can't complain. We can't complain no matter what. We can't say, well, let's go back to the old way where people are complaining, well, this guy's selling fouls. There's too much embellishment. We've got to get rid of that. Okay, we've gotten rid of that. Now we're saying, well, hang on. Now you're not calling enough fouls either, or you're calling the wrong foul.
Yeah, but the Knicks' problem with last night is like Harden and Durant are attacking and they're getting to the line, and we think Randle is doing the same thing and he's not getting to the line. That's what they're saying.
And sure, again, in one game, maybe that's the case. If this is a thing throughout the season where they can put together clear evidence where Randle's not getting obvious fouls, then maybe that's something to investigate. But in a game like that last night, it was an arm wrestle. It was a tug of war. The Knicks were in a chance to win it. The Nets just got there in the end. And I just think that's what we should be focusing on rather than maybe this was a foul. Maybe didn't get enough calls. Keep attacking Julius Randle, and I guarantee you will end up with a whole lot more foul calls because I thought he was really good last night. But I woke up this morning and I saw all those quotes there from Tibbs, and I'm just like, we can't do this. We can't just complain no matter what and say, well, the refs are calling the game wrong. It's either the way we had it before, where you get James Harden, and James Harden went in last night a couple of times, throwing the arms around, not getting those calls. Mm-hmm. There's no way we want to go back to that, in my opinion, of anytime he just throws his arms around, that's technically a foul. So the way it is right now is better. Bad luck to the Knicks. Great game, though. Well played. You just lost.
Tass, you were going to jump in there. I thought you were going to add something.
Maybe. But at this point, I thought Randle wasn't necessarily that aggressive last night. I think he is a tough player to officiate because guys sort of bounce off him, and he, kind of like Dwight in the past or Shaq even way before that. Like he absorbs those hits, and it's kind of hard to tell because he doesn't really move. But I didn't think he was really driving a lot last night. I thought he was jump shooting Randle, and I thought he played a really good game. He did a good job of getting everybody involved. Obviously, 8 helpers, and I thought Alec Burks in the starting lineup, man, he was on fire for most of the night. He slowed down a little bit, but to have a 25-point night in place of Kemba Walker there was a good sign for the Knicks. But you're going up against James Harden when he decided to be great. This was I think James Harden's best game. To have an 18-point first quarter like that, nobody expected that, I don't think, because James Harden has not been that incredible, through the first 20 games of the season, but he's starting to turn it on recently. And now they have 2 stars, and now they look really good. So, the rotations are interesting there with the Nets, with DeAndre Bembry starting and Blake Griffin out. Both teams tinkering.
Mm-hmm. The Knicks challenge there on the Rose one sort of came into play if you think about it, Leigh, because they lose the challenge, lose the timeout, and didn't have one to call after James Johnson hit the 2 free throws, so they had to call in the home run play, as Reggie said on the broadcast, and Fournier wasn't that far off. I mean, he gave it a chance. He got it up on the rim basically from half court, but they would have liked that timeout, of course. And I did have one more thought. Oh yeah, something that happened during the game, like during a timeout, Leigh. Here's another question for you, Leigh. This guy was given the chance to take 3-pointers, right? And every 3-pointer he hit got $200. Okay. He had like 45 seconds or something. I don't know what it was. So it was like maybe a minute. He hit 3 NBA threes. They're very far. He splashed 3. He had a pretty good looking release, but he hit 3. And then the option is, well, do you want the $600 or do you want a shot from half court for $25,000? What are you doing, Leigh Ellis? Let's say you even hit. Let's say you hit 5 threes. Let's say you got $1,000 right there.
Yeah.
Are you still going to go for the $25K from half court?
Guys, one of the most embarrassing things that we've all committed is our inability to hit a half court shot in Las Vegas. What did we finish? None for 30 or something like
it's
that?
Very high. We've had a lot
None
of
for a
attempts.
lot.
I think under these circumstances, you just got to take the money and run. I don't think you go for the big bucks.
That's the right answer, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lame answer, and I hope you would get booed off the floor because you want to see the half court shot. But $600, $1,000. Yeah. I'm with you. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, could he choose his spot, or was it at the top of the key there?
That's great. He was shooting from the top. The
Yeah,
3-pointers?
that's what I guess.
You want to ask, hey, can I go to the corners, please?
Go to the corner, yeah. I got a minute. I reckon I can
A
make
shot.
I can make 10 from the corner in a minute, I think. So
Wow.
there's a couple of grand, yeah.
Holy
But
man.
half court shots just not our thing, guys. It's not our thing.
This guy came close. He at least hit the rim. It was sort of a pretty similar to Evan Fournier's sort of heave at the end there. He hit on the same side and everything. Okay, the other games from last night. I'll throw all 3 at you. You guys can touch on any you want. Grizzlies won their second straight without Ja Morant. They beat the Raptors 98-91 in the Naismith Cup. The Trailblazers snapped a 3-game skid with the 110-92 win over the Detroit Pistons. And the Lakers, they overcame LeBron's absence to beat the Kings 117-92. Leigh, any of those 3 jump out the page at you?
Thank God we had the other 2 games last night because they were awesome. These 3, where do you want to go, Skeetsy? The Raptors did not look like they were the better team at all last night. The Grizzlies, I don't know if the Raptors actually ever led that game. When you're going up against the worst defensive team in the league, missing their best player, and you don't even really get close, that's a bit of a yucky one there for the Raptors. Cade Cunningham had a nice game, but the Pistons got smoked, and the Sacramento Kings led at halftime, but got absolutely drilled in the second half. So, I mean, anything to add for anybody from any of those games?
Okay, well, the LeBron news is, I guess, interesting to us.
Okay.
He's sent home earlier in the day. He's placed in the NBA's health and safety protocol. Now, Anthony Davis told us, that LeBron felt good. He should be okay. But the Lakers might have to play some games without him here because if Bron tested positive for COVID-19, he would have to return 2 negative PCR tests here within 24 hours apart so he can return. Otherwise, the NBA mandates a minimum of 10 days in isolation for LeBron away from the team and without physical activity. So he could be out here for a while. They came back to win, and maybe you have some notes on the game itself, but are the Lakers going to be okay here? Like, can they get through a possibly extended absence, another one from LeBron?
Well, I think the lesson learned here is you got to test everybody who comes to Christmas dinner because it didn't seem like people were tested who came to Thanksgiving dinner. It sure seems like that's where LeBron contracted COVID-19, if he has it, but it sure seems like he does. Yeah, 10 days. Test everybody. Test everybody. Don't contract COVID-19. It's unfortunate. I hope he's okay. The Lakers will, whatever, they'll get by, won't they?
Well, if
Okay,
Anthony Davis plays like Anthony Davis can, then yes. But if he plays like he did at times when LeBron was already out, then they might struggle again. What do you think, Trey?
They need to have the Anthony Davis from last night. He took 22 shots, but only 8 of them were outside the lane. Right. It was a post-up festival for that guy, and that's exactly what the Lakers need from Anthony Davis. He came out and decided to be the number 1 option against a smaller Kings team that had Rashawn Holmes back for the first time in a little bit, but Davis has the size and the length to be able to shoot over him or whoever else the Kings are going to throw at him. He was great, and that's what they need every single night from Anthony Davis. We know that that's not necessarily always the case, but if he's going to be living in the lane like that, that's an impossible matchup for most teams, and that's what it's going to have to be for the Lakers, but this is just another setback for them. LeBron has been in the lineup, out of the lineup, in the lineup, out of the lineup. We know their best team is going to be when they have a little bit of continuity and give LeBron a chance to actually figure things out, but now that he is having another stop, this puts them a little bit further behind. I mean, I'm sure they can survive in the meantime with Davis and Westbrook coming around a little bit here, but they really need to start working on the continuity if they're going to make any noise come playoff time.
I believe they had like a light schedule here too, the Lakers do, in terms of the number of games. Like if LeBron is out 10 days, I don't think he would miss that many games, which is good news for
5.
Lakers fans. Is it 5? Okay, I thought it was even 4. So yeah, they should be able to keep their head above water. But AD needs to play. Like I'm sort of getting tired a little bit of the excuse when LeBron's out. Like, oh, the Lakers are like, yeah, no shit, they're a completely different team. But they have Anthony Davis.
Mm-hmm.
They still should be awesome. I mean, should be one of the best players still in the league. I'd like to see him really take that and run with it for a couple of games here if LeBron is going to miss some extended time.
Well, it shows how obviously Anthony Davis should be the number one and they should be fine. He just got named to the top 75. He should be able to carry a team for several games. But it shows that, beyond their big three, that things get thin. And that's a problem, obviously, with the Lakers. It's been a problem with, super teams in the past. Heck, it's a problem with the Toronto Raptors if you watch that team out there. OG Anunoby not out there. Kem Birch would be very, very, very solid if he was able to play out there. He's injured right now. It's a crazy step, but you want to hear this beautiful number from our friend Eric Corrine. In the 12 games, Kem Birch and Precious Achiuwa have played when they've had their depth at center. They're 7-5. That's not bad. They'd be a decent team, but then you just throw Precious out there without Kem Birch, and things are weird. Things are just weird. What's going on with that team? That's the frustrating thing, is that Precious Achiuwa just tries to do too much. I know we've talked about it, but it's like, are you just letting it go? Are you just allowing this to be a rebuilding year, or are you going to reel him in a little bit? Because, man, that's bad. That's bad basketball, watching Precious Achiuwa just go wherever he wants and fire wherever he wants. He needs to be reined in like he's a Kem Birch.
Well, we had the Raptors losing and the Kings losing, which means we're closer to a Raptors-Kings trade coming up soon. Mere weeks that'll be happening. It'll be a blockbuster we'll be talking about. But yeah, just to go back to the Kings before we take our first break, they were leading this game. Like they were up pretty comfortably, Leigh. You said it, 66-52 early in the third, and then the Lakers outscored them by 27 points over the final 9 and change of that quarter. They're up 13 heading into the fourth, just kept laying the hammer on them. Alvin Gentry postgame says, quote, "I want to apologize to every Kings fan out there because you do not deserve this. The second half was a disaster and it was an embarrassment. We can't do what we did in the second half. The fans don't deserve that." Again, that was from Gentry. Some strong words there from Alvin Gentry, saying, "What this is ridiculous. They are without LeBron. We're leading this game. We're playing well, and then we just completely fell apart." So, just unfortunately more from the Kings.
So they fired the coach. That didn't really change anything in terms of how they've played. So now, do the Kings decide, okay, it's trade time. We have to trade someone. De'Aaron Fox, despite the season that he's having, in terms of his struggles, he's still their most valuable trade asset. Do they just say, all right, we may as well trade him now? Because I think that's the next step. Otherwise, are they just going to run the clock out on another season? Just another wasted season? It just seems to me pointless. But this is the team they beat triple overtime just the other night. Now, again, a couple of guys weren't there for the Kings, but you can't just have a lead that big and then get blown out by 25 in less than a half of basketball. It's just, it is embarrassing. No wonder Alvin Gentry said it, but how much of it is on sort of Gentry and just like that front office there where they're like the players just don't seem inspired right now. So you're going to have to do something else.
But hold on, hasn't Gentry won 2 of his 5 games? That would be one of the best winning percentages in Kings history for a coach. It'd be right there. It'd be near the top.
I mean, look, I love Alvin Gentry. He's a great guy, and we've spoken to him. But again, they fired. Well, no, but I mean,
great guy. Only because I spoke to him.
They fired Luke Walton, and it's not, again, he hasn't come in and then all of a sudden, he's got this inspiring voice that all the guys want to go and play. Shoulders are slumped, body language is just terrible. And they're just not fighting at all. So that's the problem.
Let me bring up one tweet from a guy that we've also spoken to, because this riled me up a little bit. And from his perspective, I guess he thought of it as a compliment. Lang Whitaker, old friend Lang Whitaker, said that Scotty Barnes, Raptors rookie, reminds him of Donyell Marshall. I didn't like that. I booed him. I just straight up booed that man.
Wow.
But Lang Whitaker came back at me and said, "Hey, he was great coming out of UConn." But Donyell Marshall, decent NBA career. just a lot slower than Scotty Barnes. Not as athletic, different body type, great shooter. Held the NBA record for most threes in a game for a while. Tied, anyways. He had 12 threes in a game.
Yep.
But come on, that's it. That's your ceiling on Scotty Barnes. He thought of it as a compliment, but I ain't buying it. I ain't buying it, Lang.
How do you feel about Canadian players playing really well against the Toronto Raptors, Tass?
Love it.
Does it upset you? Oh, you like it?
Oh. Get up for the Naismith Cup, as it's called.
Okay. Well, did you see what Dylan Brooks was wearing after last night's game? My goodness.
Yeah. What about that three, the celebration there, Skeetsy, with the hair? And that is, you say he's got the most punchable face.
Been saying it for years.
Yeah.
I'm not wrong.
No. I think that was the only three hit too last night. And oh man, he had it circled on the calendar there.
Good for him. I mean, I like him. I want to make this clear. I like him, but man,
I saw this quote. I saw Dylan Brooks post game, and I did not expect that he scored 17 points on 5 of 18 shooting. Come on, but I had it circled. I was going to go in there and make less than a third of my shots. That's his game.
That's him, man. It's I don't know. I almost love that confidence he has. It's crazy. Anyway, it's a good win for the Grizzlies, especially without John Morant. Again, not a great game for the Raptors, but that's okay. We're getting close to trade season. Something's happening. Let's take our first break. When we come back, we will hit the beach. JD.
Hey, great news, guys. Podcast advertising actually works. The other day, Skeets was talking about wanting to get a Peloton after hearing Trey and Tass talk about it so much. Same. I'm in exactly the same boat. I've been curious about Peloton for a while now, but Trey, Tass, you closed the deal. I got my Peloton last week.
Woo!
I'll be honest, my fitness routine has really fallen off these past few months. I have been working a lot, but also I've just been putting it off because once you stop, it's really hard to get that momentum going again. But when the bike is literally sitting right there.
Whoa! Okay, I hope you're joining us on YouTube to see that shot right there.
Yeah, it's just right there. Look at it. It's so cute sitting there. I find it hard not jumping on it, but
why aren't you podcasting while sitting on it?
I know. Well, because I would get distracted by the class, because I'd like to take the classes. And I took my first class the other day. I probably made a mistake. I dove right in and did my first class live. It was a 30 minutes 90s pop ride with Emma Lovewell. I was in way over my head. She's shouting out cadence, resistance, output. I was getting high fives left and right. At one point, Emma was staring directly into my soul, mouthing the words to Love You Always and Forever by Donna Lewis. I probably should have started with something more basic, but actually it took about 5 minutes to get with the program. And by the end, I was belting out, I don't care who you are, where you're from. I was snapping my fingers as long as you love me. There's all bangers on that ride. Shout out to Emma Lovewell. Leigh, you would have loved it.
I'm getting a sweat up right now. This is great.
Right? Yeah, we gotta get on this thing. Well, they don't make tandem ones yet, but that's coming.
That's an awesome idea. Yeah.
That was a great idea. And it's not just the bike. Peloton has endless class variety to keep your workouts feeling fresh. Strength, yoga, barley, meditation, and more. Never work out alone on Peloton ride. Ride with coworkers and friends. Work out with interest groups like Working Moms of Peloton or Peloton Parents. And I noticed somebody started a no dunks tag. There's one guy in it. Yeah, I was going to join it, but I wasn't sure if it's related to the show or not. He might just be anti-dunk. But Fat Pat worked 38. Let us know. Maybe we'll take a ride together. Maybe we should start a club or something with all our Peloton people out there. Anyways, visit onepeloton.com to learn more. Try Peloton classes free for the rest of the year. New members only. Visit onepeloton.com/app to learn more. Terms apply. Peloton, when your workout is a joy, it's a joy to work out.
Well, I hope you like singing because I can't stop thinking about Leigh's Allbirds read from yesterday. He mentioned that he likes his Allbirds wool runners so much that he bought himself a second pair. And I don't know if you knew this, Leigh. That is a rap song. Give Leigh 2 purrs. Leigh needs 2 purrs so Leigh can get to stomping in his Allbirds shoes. Big Leigh get to stomping in his Allbirds shoes. Nelly, old and busted. Nelleigh. That's the new hotness. If you want to get like Chuck G League, go to allbirds.com and peep all their styles. They got the classic wool runner, the dashing wool pipers, and the new fluff collection. All make great gifts that keep you comfortable wherever your feet take you. When the weather outside is frightful, try the Mizzle collection. Keeps your feet dry and warm with cozy merino wool, no slip grip, and puddle guard technology. Everything is machine washable, so your birds stay fresh and clean no matter how often you wear them. Allbirds offers free shipping and free returns with delivery in time for the holidays, so give comfort and feel joy this holiday season. Find your own pair or one to gift at allbirds.com. That's all spelled, all birds spelled birds.com. Allbirds.com.
All right, let's hit the beach. Get to a few of your questions. Yeah, a little beach Steppin. Keep sending in your questions. Email them in, nodunks@theathletic.com. Tweet them in at nodunks_inc. That's INC. Or can always leave them below the YouTube video down in the comments. All right, got a couple here. First one. I was in the car with my girlfriend listening to the No Dunks pod, and Skeets was promoting getting to 50,000 subs. I also said that off the top of today's show. My girlfriend looked at me and asked, "Why are you listening to a podcast with less than 50,000 subs?" I believe trying to make a joke. I then went through your guys' history with podcasting and television to inform her you guys are in your bag and are the real deal. My question is, what's something NBA adjacent you loved that maybe wasn't the most popular, but you always thought was underrated? Love the show. That's from Benton. What do you think, Trey?
Nice joke. That's what I think. Honestly, though, NBA adjacent, super underrated. Christian and Scooby. The NBA halftime show. Christian is balancing. Scooby comes out of the radio, does some balancing as well. And then they balance together. You only ever see it at a halftime of a basketball game, but I don't know. He's been on like America's Got Talent. People like this. And I honestly think that Christian has become underrated in Christian and Scooby. Everybody's tuning in for the dog. That dog can dunk. That dog can do 2 dunks. But Christian is incredible, man.
Yeah.
He can balance a dog on top of his feet while balancing on top of something. He can balance on 2 basketballs. You ever try and sit on a basketball? That's tough. How about balancing on your hands upwards? You can throw on Christian and Scooby and kids will be completely enamored by what is happening. Not enough people know. If you want to see a man balancing a dog, Christian and Scooby is the only choice as far as I'm concerned.
That's a great answer. We were lucky enough to have Christian and Scooby on our show once upon a time. Live in studio, we saw it with our own eyes. That's a great answer. And Christian is underrated. I'm with you on that.
That was my exact answer.
No way. Are you serious?
Yeah. Well, it just so happened that Trey and I were watching Christian and Scooby clips the other day, so it was fresh on the brain that, yes, and Scooby's down to dunk now. He can throw it down. So, yeah, I think he's making his way into the NFL. He's done some NFL games as well. Christian has. Yeah, he's been at the 50-yard line doing his thing. It seems like a basketball thing, but now he's opening up to a bigger audience. Yeah, he's been on America's Got Talent. He's done a lot of European shows. I saw he had a quick little slip up where he goes upside down. He's doing a handstand on these pedestal things.
Yeah.
And he kind of his hand slipped, but he got right back up recently on a European talent show, whatever it was called. The guy is a tank.
Well, Scooby
he is
screwed up
underrated.
once. He took a dump on the Bucks court. That was awesome.
I forgot about that.
Ta-da!
That's a very funny clip.
Okay. So yeah, so you guys just get together in your off time and watch Scooby clips. That's
No
cool
doubt.
Too. Send the invite. I'll swing by.
Yeah, we like to go monthly, so we just watched all of November's.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Leigh, do you have an answer for this?
Like, honestly, not really. I was trying to think of something,
Nothing.
and I just couldn't come up with something NBA adjacent that isn't sort of recycled, reused. Free throws, whatever, boring. But thankfully, Trey and Tass came up with great answers, so I think I can duck out of this one safely.
Hey, I just want to say something to your girlfriend Benton too. 50,000 subs on YouTube. We're not talking podcast numbers here, Lady Benton. Okay, that's just this is the YouTube. We're just trying to get our YouTube followers up. We're trying to hit 50K, then 100K, so we get a plaque, and then we'll retire. That's all we want. We want that YouTube plaque. But yeah, we're not even talking about the podcast numbers. Thank you for sticking up for us, though, Benton.
Started late in the game, Lady Benton. That's the thing. Been podcasting for a long time, but haven't been solo YouTube channeling for a long time. So that's the deal.
Right.
What are you guys? Lee's response just made me think of the sweeper cleaner person at basketball games. You got the mop boy, as they call him, but now there's the guy who.
Sexy mop man?
Yeah, sexy mop man. He jumps around.
The guy that's like gyrating on the ground.
Yeah. How do you guys feel about that?
Sure. Good for him.
Yeah.
I love a clean court.
It's really funny. When he did the
goes
one
for
where
it.
he like cleaned the spot and then rolled off the floor, I actually laughed out loud at that part.
Yeah, the rolling's pretty good.
Yeah. So I'm here for it. Yeah.
All right, next email here.
I was gonna say one thing. One final thing, talking about YouTube. I mean, this is a little tease there, but did you see that camera move that JD had
That was nice.
for the Peloton? Did you see how smooth it was? That's okay. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm
What a
gonna say.
reveal. What a reveal.
You just hey, Lady Benton, you just hold on to your ass, all right?
You're going to want to be one of the first 50,000.
That's right. That's exactly right.
I remember back when No Dunks didn't even have 50,000 subscribers. Now they got 50 million.
Ooh.
Where were you?
By Christmas 2085.
22.
Okay, we got another one here.
Hey, No Dunks. Quick and simple question for you guys that's a bit overdue. I typically listen to your guys' podcast at work, so I don't see the visuals you show on YouTube, like JD's camera shot. With that said, when you played the crazy Knicks celebration video, I thought that you guys were adding your own lines. Specifically for the entire podcast, I genuinely believed it was JD who added his own Bing Bong. Am I the only one that feels like Bing Bong guy sounds like JD? That's all. Thanks for everything you guys do. Cole, the hula hooper, is his sign off. Okay.
Well, there's only one way to figure this out, right? We need JD to drop a Bing Bong, and then we need to hear the Bing Bong and see how similar they are.
Yeah, I'm trying. You know what? I won't even try to do it like the guy. I'll just do it, and then we'll play the guy.
Okay.
Bing bong.
Bing bong.
Wow.
Yeah.
I sort of hear it.
What else?
It's
Yeah.
it's
Cadence
close.
is similar.
Well,
I
do
think
it
the
again,
Bings
JD.
the Bings are pretty accurate.
Yeah. Go again, JD.
Bing bong.
Bing bong.
He's just a little longer.
He hangs
He holds the bong a bit.
He holds the bong.
Okay. Bing bong.
Bing bong.
I think he's holding the ing a little bit there too, just a beat. Bing bong. I think so. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm not. The day I take notes from Leigh Ellis.
I think our emailer is right though, for sure. Cole, you're on something here.
Yeah.
Okay.
What a question.
Well, Leigh. I was going to ask Leigh to do that guy. So he could-
that was James Harden after the putback last night.
Yeah.
That's what he was doing.
That's true. Okay, great observation. Look, it doesn't always have to be a question here, right? On Beach Steppin, you got a great comment, great observation. Send it in. Final one here. Hi. Regarding Skeets dipping his grilled cheese in ketchup, I've heard this anti-ketchup sentiment from Americans before. For what it's worth, in Belgium, if you order croque monsieur, which basically is a grilled cheese with ham, it's standard practice to serve it with some ketchup. Some places serve it with ketchup and mayonnaise as a bit of a combo there. So you're good, Skeetsy. Belgium has got your back. Cheers for getting me and my wife into Survivor. Great stuff. Great email from Vince. Thank you, Vince, for having my back. All of Belgium has my back. Yeah, this sort of like kicked off again because I think we just shared the TikTok video, right, of me talking about dipping my grilled cheese sandwich into either tomato soup or ketchup. And the blowback I got. Not only the first time I said it, but then the TikTok going around, Trey. That just like kicked it all off again. People like, ketchup, you monster, are you crazy?
People are crazy if they're calling you out on this one, Skeets. I had a grilled cheese last night, had to go with some ketchup alongside of it. I was dunking like crazy. Oh, it's so good. Tomato soup, obviously, is the first choice. You're matching warm for warm, but if you don't have tomato soup, get some ketchup.
Yeah.
In general, I'm not a ketchup fan. I'll be quite honest. But it's perfect with the grilled cheese and obviously, the other classic ketchup things. But come on, the tanginess and the creaminess, they're meant to go together.
Leigh, have you been to Belgium? Have you done the ketchup mayo combo?
Well, not the
That's
ketchup mayo combo, but the food there is absolutely fantastic. So if the Belgians are endorsing you, Skeetsy, that's the sort of wagon you want to be on because, God, they do good food out there. It's one of those places where you turn up. First restaurant I remember I went to, this was only a couple of years ago. I ordered mussels and fries, and they were just unbelievable. Unbelievable. The beer is great, great people. Belgium's a great country. I say Belgium. I've been to Brussels, but God, it's a great place to eat. Great people.
I mean, Brussels is in Belgium, so it counts, man. I don't know why you're like qualifying.
Like when people say, "Oh, I loved Australia." Yeah, I was in Sydney for 3 days. Like, well, I mean, you're in Sydney.
Okay.
Say Sydney. Be specific.
Australia is a continent. Belgium is the size of like Jordan.
I just get a little particular about some of those things. But,
so what? You don't like if somebody says like JD just made the comparison? So he said, I've been in the state of Georgia. Well, where'd you go? I went to Atlanta. Wow, were you really in the state of Georgia?
Well, I'm just saying there's more. There's like people. If you go to Belgium, like Belgian people won't just be like, well, don't just go to Brussels. They'll say, get out and see more of it. But you can't always do that when you're on a bit of a timeline. But if you need to eat, go to Brussels for the mussels.
Are you
the mussels in Brussels? I'll have the Jean-Claude Van Damme, please.
Are you excited for the Christmas No Dunks Christmas party dinner later this week, Leigh? Excited to maybe eat some mussels?
I haven't seen them on the menu, but if there are, perhaps I will. I'm most excited because it's just up the road from my place. So
well, you already told us you're going to be a half hour late, so we're off to a great start.
Yeah. Well, it's probably only going to be 10 minutes now because I just thought it was somewhere else. So even better. Yeah.
You thought the restaurant was somewhere else. You just I saw the name of it. You're like, that's got to be far from me.
This was coming through on the Slacks last week when I was away, so I wasn't paying sort of too close attention to it. So I checked it last night. And I'm like, sweet. That's easy for me.
Oh, so post-dinner drinks at your place.
Sure, why not? I've actually got a couple of nice bottles of champagne here, JD. They're great. I'll put them on.
Yeah, one of them's mine.
I know. I actually meant to bring it to your house yesterday. Sorry, I forgot about that.
Oh, okay. Can't wait. Again, we're trying to decide whether or not we'll be live streaming our No Dunks Christmas party dinner. Probably not, but you never know. Okay, well, keep sending in your questions. NoDunks@theathletic.com. Tweet them in at NoDunksInc. Or leave them in the YouTube comments below. One more break, then we'll get to JD's tweet of the night and our first pick-em for the month of December. What do you got, Leigh?
Well, let's keep the musical ad reads going here because I've got the Sonos and I'm here to tell you about the Sonos One smart speaker because it's like having your own personal assistant because it does more than just play music. You can connect it to your favorites, Alexa or Google. So if you want to check the news, the weather, the traffic, all that sort of stuff, you ask it the question and you get the answer. It's not one of those big, clunky, attention-seeking speakers. You can sort of put it in the corner and it just blends in. It's very subtle. I like that. It's versatile. It's sleek. You can take it anywhere in the house, even in the shower. Well, in the bathroom, I should say. Maybe you don't want to take it in the shower. This baby is humidity resistant. Imagine that. I wish I was humidity resistant in these Atlanta summers. Wouldn't that be awesome? You could go outside, you wouldn't just immediately start pouring in sweat. But that's the Sonos One. It won't. It doesn't get affected by the humidity, so that's great. Now, this is the best part. It works with all your streaming services. But what I like best, the Sonos One won't make fun of my music choices. So, maybe I'm listening to Dua Lipa 1 minute, maybe Elton the next, maybe Tracy Chapman. Who knows? You might even get some Kenny Rogers in there. I don't know. Maybe Kenny Rogers, Sheena Easton. You might even hear that. And I like being able to listen to it without anyone sort of scoffing or snarling or saying, what are you listening to this for? It's great. There is so much music to choose from that even Julie Gardner would probably become a music gal, I'm sure, because you can listen to everything. It's a great Christmas present. Christmas just around the corner. So you've got a few weeks here if you want to make it a great present for someone. They're going to love it because it is so versatile and adaptive. And it's just an ideal gift. So visit sonos.com to learn more. That's sonos.com to learn more.
Well, here's a question. Did you miss the biggest sports headlines from the night before? For me, unless it had to do with basketball, the answer is probably yes. You ever wonder how that might impact this week's bets? Yes, again, all the time, especially when it's not basketball. So relive the best in sports from the night before with BetMGM tonight, presented by BetMGM. BetMGM tonight, presented by BetMGM. I love that. I'm going to start calling our show No Dunks Morning, presented by No Dunks. BetMGM tonight is a high-energy live destination for casual and hardcore sports fans alike. Engaging, polarizing, relevant, gets you all caught up in the sports betting world with, this is very key, a heavy dose of entertainment. Every detail matters when making bets. BetMGM tonight dives deeper to help give you the edge. And, well, I owe 3 pick'em payoffs now. I need all the help I can get. So that's why I'm tuning in to BetMGM tonight. It's fun to bet on the game. It's even more fun when you got the inside scoop. Tune into BetMGM tonight, presented by BetMGM. Listen on Odyssey, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. Let's get to tweet of the night.
Tweet of the night. Wow.
Twitter.
So tweet of the night, this screen grab of Monty McCutcheon was making the rounds last night. And it looks like he's in Secaucus. I mean, I'm assuming this is from last night, right?
I'm not 100% sure about that, but I saw the photo going around last night. Yes.
Yeah. And so for the audio listeners, he's wearing a yellowish blazer, a pale yellow blazer, a bow tie, and a vest that appears to be, well, I wouldn't call it gingham. What would we call that? Plaid.
It's like Christmas wrapping paper.
Yeah. It's a kind of festive, I guess. He's gotten into the holiday spirit. So anyways, a couple of zingers were made. First one is from CJ Zero. Monty looks like he has a barbershop quartet gig after the game ends. Very accurate, actually. Just take off the blazer and you're singing your tunes. But the best one came from Casey Sager. Basically says, this is an absolutely bonkers look, and I am literally Craig Sager's daughter. I mean, that's perfect. Craig Sager would not be caught dead in this outfit. I don't think.
That's more.
I don't know
Johnson with the bow tie there.
Yeah. It's kind of like Ernie Johnson meets Craig Sager, but in a dark closet where they can't see what they're actually putting on or something. You know what I mean?
Well, do you remember what Monty McCutcheon used to look like?
Yes.
Just go to JD's solo because that's what he used to look like. JD just looks straight into the camera. Yeah. That's what he used to look like. Do you remember that?
He did have his beard was very similar to yours.
Yeah, he had the crazy beard.
I Googled him just to make sure I had spelled his name right, and I didn't see any pictures of him.
Oh yeah, I think that was last year or something like that.
Yeah, it was in the
could have been a pandemic look.
Yeah, that's right.
I could have sworn we shared it on the show once.
We might have
pointing out the similarities maybe too. Okay, that's a very funny tweet there from Casey Sager.
And a quick little bonus: everybody was sending me this story from Stereo Gum. about a pub in Yorkshire that was snowed in. The people of the pub were snowed in for 3 days, and in the pub was an Oasis cover band who had been performing for the captive audience. And and I got questions like this from Josh Suko: how much Guinness would it take to survive? I mean, all of it. All of the Guinness. It would be, you're talking about literal hell. But then I read the article and it didn't sound that bad, actually. They had it's kind of like my ultimate fantasy, really, like getting snowed in at a pub. They were playing trivia, watching movies. Unfortunately, there was an Oasis band there. I mean, the band was called Noasis.
Sounds like they could get a spin-off podcast on our network.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea, is it?
That should be our music podcast. We'll just call it Noasis.
Noasis.
Everything but Oasis.
But so outside of the cover band being an Oasis cover band, you love the idea of being trapped in a pub for 3 days.
It sounds awesome.
Yeah. It depends a little bit who you're trapped with.
Hey, apparently they're all fast friends. Like they're just everybody's keeping in touch. It's like Survivor without anyone getting voted off. It's just like we're just bonding here in a cold winter's night. I think it says something like the highest elevation in England where the pub is.
Yeah,
so,
where I was gonna say that pub looks like a barn in the middle of nowhere.
I know.
Yeah.
It does. It looks really desolate. There's another picture that I saw that's just like literally in the middle of nowhere. It's like farmland or whatever.
Cool.
But yeah.
Okay, great stuff. Well, there were no pick'em results from last night because we took the night off. Of course, the one night where I say I like the Suns' chances to win. Actually, give me the Suns cover, and you guys all take the Warriors. But it's not official. This Phoenix comes through, as we talked about at the top of the show. Like, just of course, my luck right now. It's okay though. This pick'em for December here, brought to you by BetMGM though Task. So there's a lot of games on tonight. Where are you starting this new month? Which game are we going with?
Yeah, we got a Niner tonight. I thought a tough game was Hawks Pacers. Us being here in Atlanta, we watched that winning streak from the Hawks, and then they got beat up by the Knicks on the weekend there. So will they be able to bounce back against the Indiana Pacers? And I'm glad to see that we're Splitsville on this one. The Pacers, just a 1.5 point favorite at home to Atlanta. Skeets and Leigh like the Pacers at home, while Trey and I taking the Hawks. Trey, why are you going with Atlanta?
I think Atlanta should be favored in this game. I think they're pretty much clearly better than the Pacers. I guess the worry is that we don't exactly know what the Hawks are going to look like with Reddish and Bogdanovic going down. A litlittle bit of depth concerns perhaps, but I was a little surprised to see that the Pacers were actually favorites. They're at home, so that makes sense. But yeah, give me the Hawks.
Yeah, we've talked about the Pacers before, Leigh. Like they're going to win this game by 25 tonight or like lose by 25. I mean, you never know with this squad, so we're flipping a coin.
And the Hawks are not a great road team, so this is really a pick 'em though. You don't know which team you're going to get out of Indiana. Good chance for the Hawks to get a decent road victory, but who knows? Who really knows?
Well, we'll be back tomorrow here on No Dunks to maybe talk about the Hawks-Pacers game, some of the other ones on tonight. What are the other big games? Sixers-Celtics, I guess. I think that one's on NBA TV. Anything else, juicy?
Heat Cavs. I'm a Cavalier fan, so that's
Cavs.
Who doesn't? Yeah, they're playing everybody tough. I'd say those are the
Hornets Bucks maybe.
Hornets Bucks.
They're sort of an up and down team too. The Hornets are. So we'll talk about those games tomorrow. The big news for the day. Yeah.
Just before you go, Skeetsy, I got a photo for you. I thought I'd show you. There's the Mussels there from.
You have a photo of the mussels you ate in Brooklyn. Why would you keep that?
Why not?
That's so amazing to me.
That was the first meal I had. I just walked in there and had the mussels, got the leffe there as well. And
that's so weird to me, man.
Right, yeah. Now, just talking about, this is a bit different, but here's my son here with his big old thing of fries.
That's a keeper. That's a framer right there.
Right, yeah. So that's how they eat their fries there, classily. You got a little fork there and just drowning in ketchup. But,
hell yeah.
that's the way to do it.
Okay. I mean, you ever going to delete that photo of the muscles in Brussels? You're gonna keep it forever?
Because you never know, on a podcast one day, you might just be talking about a meal you had 3.5 years ago in Belgium.
You're incredible, man.
It added nothing to the podcast.
It's like I've never seen muscles before.
People who are listening,
I thought there were some guys' arm they ripped off.
people who are listening are going to be like, I got to go and check this out. And then they're going to go, wow, look at this content.
That's how we get to 50,000 subs, Lee.
They're going to
All right.
subscribe. They got to subscribe. They're going, I don't want to miss out on that. The visuals, no way. I got to check it out. So you can thank me later.
There you go. All right, guys.
I'll thank you now. Thank you, Lee. Thank you.
Questions coming. NoDunks@theathletic.com. Hit us up on Twitter at NoDunksInc. Drop your comments below the vid here. Hit that like button. Subscribe to No Dunks on YouTube. We got to get to 50K now after talking about it forever. Oh, there's another shot of the
Sorry,
muscles.
I'm trying to delete it. I'm trying to.
No, because you're fucking it up for me. I got my cursor point. Wait a minute, you deleted it. Now it's stuck.
I know. Why can't you fucking wait until we just wrap up the show, Lee?
Because I knew I'd forget. I don't know why it's still showing if I deleted it.
Yeah, now it's there. We can't get rid of it.
I'm literally saying goodbye, and you have to get rid of it before I can even say goodbye to people. You're something else, man. Guys, go grab yourself an Athletic subscription, theathletic.com/nodunks. If you're listening to this podcast, now you have to come see the end of this show because we've broken StreamYard. We can only look at muscles from now on. We can only see Leigh and Trey from now on. Oh, my. Well, JD, I don't even know if this is gonna work, but until tomorrow, Clipper Bros.
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
The muscles are still there.
Yeah.
You really fucked it up, Ellis.
Thanks for joining us. And remember, muscles don't photograph very well. I don't know why you'd ever take a photo of them. They're ugly.
And
They
keep
taste
it
great.
for a decade. Embrace the day, people.
You could stay. Ooh.